If you want to start winning races, you have to double down on your racing intelligence. Now, what do I define by racing intelligence, and what can you even do about it? To me, racing intelligence is developing all those patterns, all those decision making related to navigating through the first laps, the racecraft, everything that is required for you when it's not about pace, when it's not about just the driving skills. So everything that is about just dealing through drivers defending from you, or they're like trying to overtake somebody, and how to do it in the best possible way to not lose too much time, and to make sure you do it in the as early as possible. All these sort of things, how to get the perfect start without taking too many risks. So risk versus reward kind of stuff. Of course you can get a mega start, but if you all the time risk like that, you may have a mega start once, twice, but then a third time you crash. Mega start once, twice, and the third time you crash. I think there's a sort of ratio that we could use also in that kind of regards, like risk versus reward. Maybe you can have, instead of having a crazy start, you can have like a slightly more conservative start, which is still good, but instead of crashing every 3 starts, you can maybe crash every 10-15 starts, which again, remember, like, unfortunately crashing is very possible, and it's most of the time it's not even your fault. But let's say you are going around the outside in the first lap, in the first corner, and yeah, it may be quicker because everybody on the inside is bunched up, like being slowed down by each other, by everyone's braking early, and if you go around the outside, for sure, if there's nobody ahead of you and you can outbrake yourself, you can gain 4 or 5 positions in just one corner. But the reality is that if there's a crash, the crash goes from the inside to the outside just for the centrifugal force. So it's physics, and so you're basically betting. You're a bit of a gambler in that case. So yeah, if it goes well, you may gain 2, 3, 4 positions. If it goes bad, you DNF. Because if there's a crash right in front of you, either you get piled up, or you may have to avoid the crash and maybe go through the grass, and you may lose 10, 15 positions. So again, that's about racing intelligence. That's how to calculate the odds and kind of be conservative and aggressive at the right times. Understand when to be aggressive, understand when to be conservative, especially if you're fighting for a championship. So I think that all of this is within the circle of racing intelligence. Again, pace is another thing, driving skills and finding a lap time is another thing, but then racing intelligence is another part. And you may ask me what's the more important. I don't think there's one that's more important than the other. You need both to win, basically. You need to have a really good pace, and you need to have really good racing intelligence. If you have really good pace but zero racing intelligence, maybe you start from P1 in the final, but then you may forget to defend in the first corner because you assume that nobody's going to pass you, and so you get passed right away. You may be put on the dirt, and then it happens again. Then you try to go around the outside to make it up, and then you get taken out, stuff like that. So yeah, you need both. Or on the contrary, you may have really crazy racing intelligence, like pro racecraft, etc. You may start P3, maybe you get up to first because of your racecraft skills. But then if you have like zero pace and you're like half a second slower, sooner or later the drivers behind will find a way to pass you, even if you are defending or doing some crazy stuff. But again, ideally you need to have both maxed out, maximum racecraft, maximum race pace, and yeah, that's gonna give you the race wins. But what I noticed is that it's quite hard to find the pace, because the pace is found not only by the driver but also by the team, by the mechanic, and giving the equipment that performs from the chassis side, from the engine side. There's a lot of things that are involved in defining pace, but once you do have the pace, then it's a pity to lose a race for racecraft, because your racing intelligence isn't that great. So yeah, that's something I suggest all the drivers to double down on the racecraft. And what can you do about it? Well, it's not like you can go to the grocery store and be like, okay, I need a kilo of racing intelligence, please. I need that. Where do I find it? And the lady's gonna look at you, or we don't have that. No, but the point being is that you can find racing intelligence by just experimenting by driving a lot, of course, by doing a lot of races. Of course, you can't buy experience. You can shortcut a little bit that curve by being coached by a great coach that has been doing that and seeing it all for all those years. So for sure, that's going to help you. Another thing that could help you a lot is to watch many onboard videos from races, so onboard POVs of races. Unfortunately, in Italy, in Europe in general, you can't really do that. Like the federations don't allow to use video cameras during the race for safety, for insurance. I don't really understand that. It's a bit of a pity. But I can understand, if the camera flies over and it goes onto somebody's head and may hurt them or even kill them. So that's, even though you have helmets, but still, so I understand that. But yeah, I think that they should allow at least the onboard cameras in the helmet, like helmet cams, like for example, a cam box, etc., or the Insta360, Instago 3S, etc. So, but yeah, unfortunately don't. But that would be really cool, because you could analyze your driving and you could see, okay, this is what I did. Because one thing is analyzing your driving during the normal lap, qualifying simulation. But one thing is analyzing your races, because you have so many decisions and you have to take. And if you are doing many bad decisions, and if you have a coach or a team member that can help you to, okay, mate, this is wrong. And next time that you have somebody right behind you in the first corner, in the first lap, you gotta defend. You gotta defend fully, otherwise the whole group is gonna go in and you're not gonna lose one place, you're gonna lose like 10 places. Alright, noted. Right, next. Oh mate, in the last lap, if you're P1 and you have the group behind, you cannot expect them to not pass you. Of course, you gotta defend, right? Otherwise, they're gonna pass you and that's game over. Last lap of the race. All right, noted. All these sort of things, and you're gonna start to understand the patterns, and you'll start to do it subconsciously, ideally. But yeah, you can watch those races, onboard race POVs, even though there's not too many. But you can also watch the normal races, just like live footage from outside. You can start to try to put yourself in the driver's shoes, for example, and try to be like, okay, if I was him, what I would do. I have a bit of a gap, so okay, I don't defend. Okay, I'm quite close, but I'm not that close, but I have to pass because otherwise they're gonna pass me. Okay, I'm gonna send it a bit of a dive bomb, better take a risk and try to pass, because otherwise everybody's gonna pass me. So all these sorts of things, you'll start to get some patterns. I think that's really important. And again, you can double down a bit on your reaction times. I think that's going to help, because if you have sharp reaction times, you're going to be just better overall in terms of races. Because of course, like I used to ski a lot and I loved that. This is nothing to do with the reaction times. I nowadays do like the reaction lights, but to be honest, skiing has a big relationship with reaction times, because when you go through, for example, like a very busy day of slopes, of skiing, and you may have like so many people. I remember I used to be I used to be a nightmare myself, because I was going so flat out through the people. Don't do this at home, but I was going flat out in the black slopes. I don't know if that's the same way you call them in your home country, but like the black slopes are the most difficult ones, like the steepest. So I would go flat out all the way through them, and I had my eyes had to make so many decisions. All right, okay, where do I place? Okay, where do I go? Okay, how fast do I go? Okay, should I slow down? All these kind of things. And so I was very trained when went for the first race of the year, and I think this anyways helped me through my rest of my races, because I just had I think my eyes were a bit more trained, and I used to do like 1-2 weeks of skiing in the winter, and I think that I really enjoyed that. And I think that trained my eye to go at very fast speed through the traffic, and yeah, it's great. Anyways, remember, double down on your racing intelligence. I don't have a single recipe for that, but I feel that if you put all these things together and try to train your reaction times, watch a lot of videos, both from yourself and from other people, I think you're going to start to get some patterns, get maybe some help from coaches. And you're gonna start to get better and better, more confident, and also visualization helps a lot. I used to do and still do quite a bit of visualization. I try to visualize when I'm starting the race, let's say in P3, P2, okay, let's try to visualize what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to try to do this and this. So you try to visualize multiple scenarios in your head, not overthinking, but like try to, okay, if this happens, so it's almost like your brain has already experienced that situation, and so it's going to be better for you. I'm pretty sure about that. You should give it a try.
If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you check this other recommended video below or watch the whole Driving Hacks playlist.